Hello everyone, today we are going to talk about the case of Otto Warmbier, a famous case, a notorious case about an American student who traveled to the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, and of which a lot of nonsense has been spoken and has also been used as propaganda against the country. I'm going to give you some details so that interested people, especially those who understand English, can look for and have more direct information about what happened to this boy, who ended up on trial in Korea and finally returned to the US in a coma and unfortunately passed away. The case of Otto Warmbier is that of a young student at the University of Virginia in the United States who was 21 years old. At that time, he visited Korea as a tourist, like more than 1,000 people do every day, except today we know that due to the Wuhan coronavirus, the borders are temporarily closed. Let's hope that the case of the virus remits and finally both tourism and regular visitors to the Republic can return again. But in the case of this young man, we are talking about 2016, he went to spend Christmas and New Year's Eve in Pyongyang together with another group of tourists.
Y la Nochevieja, el Año Nuevo, a Pyongyang, junto a otro grupo de turistas.
They stayed at famous Yanggakdo Hotel, which is a 4-star hotel that is located on Yanggak Island in the middle of the river that flows through the capital of Korea. The capital Pyongyang has a river, the Taedonggang, and there is a small island in the center, and on this island is one of several hotels that tourists stay at. This hotel is called Yanggakdo, and it has the peculiarity that nobody can stay on its 5th floor because it is used as internal state offices of the government. So if someone stays in this hotel, they will find that they cannot stop the elevator on the 5th floor and that it is also not accessible via the regularly used stairs. This is because, as I said, that the state offices of the hotel itself are located here, government offices to which no tourist or foreigner has access. But this boy, taking advantage of the night that there were few people, had accurate data on how to enter that place in those offices and steal a poster. But we are not talking about any random poster, a military propaganda poster, or the usual ones in Korea. We are talking about a poster on which phrases of the leader Kim Jong-il were printed. It was a really special poster that is in fact a speech by the leader that is considered like a national flag or coat of arms within the Republic. And as I said, it was inside those state offices inaccessible to any foreigner. But Otto Warmbier, with exact coordinates, which, as he would later admit, had given him American spies in a group of secret university society and some members of a Methodist church in Ohio. They gave him the coordinates for the access. He broke open one of the doors and followed a secret way. He did it totally illegal. He had to pass 2 signs where it is indicated in Korean and in English that the access of any person to this zone is totally prohibited. And once inside, once the door was forced open, he stole a piece of this poster with a quote of leader Kim Jong-il. But why he stole it, why he wanted a quote that he doesn't even understand because it was in Korean, some white letters painted on a red background that were worth it because the government agencies in Cincinnati where this boy was from had promised him that if he brought that poster as proof they would give him the possibility of doing new jobs for the North American intelligence. And they would pay him $20,000. That's why he did it, because as he himself admitted at the trial, he needed a car and those $20,000 would be perfect for him to buy the car he wanted. So he stole this poster without knowing that there were hidden cameras monitoring all the movement in the state offices. He was allowed to continue with his usual tourism until January 2, 2016, when he went to Pyongyang Airport to return to the United States. And the customs officers searched through his baggage and found the poster he had stolen. They did not stop him at an earlier moment because the agents and the police in Korea wanted to see whether he wanted to carry out further espionage or robbery activities in the country. And they also wanted to see if he regretted and left the poster, or if he really took it with him to the United States. So since he had the poster in his baggage, he was arrested and brought to trial. In addition to which he recognized all these facts not only in front of the prosecutor and the judge, but also before accredited foreign diplomats in Pyongyang. Before the North Korean press and foreign press accredited in Pyongyang, including China's Xinhua and Russian TASS and various other international agencies that have offices in the capital. He admitted that these facts and sincerely asked for forgiveness for what he had done. 15 years in prison and forced labor were finally decreed. This high penalty was put to dissuade future visitors from doing this type of activity and entering internal offices and carrying out this type of robbery. In addition to the good treatment they receive because essentially they stay in a hostel while in detention, it is evident that none of the detainees have been in prison for more than 2.5 years by then, regardless of the initial conviction. But Otto Warmbier's case has been used, and much has been brought to light, especially was it used as propaganda to denounce that North Korea had committed torture and abused him, etc. And there is nothing further from reality, as the US media themselves say, the empire's own media, as I will now explain. After his arrest, he was detained in a hostel where he had to stay and work, harvesting rice, or doing some field work 8 hours a day, as all inmates do. And in this case, especially after confessing that he had done it for money and who were really behind this initial operation. So, in June 2017, approximately 1.5 years after his arrest, Otto Warmbier fell into a coma due to problems with the medication he was taking, as he regularly requested medication in order to be able to sleep. And it is seen that this medication, in conjunction with problems that it already brought with him, we suspect that these were problems at the brain level, problems that he already had from headbutts because he was committed to the Greco-Roman wrestling. After he came to Korea in January, he was already complaining to his fellow travelers that he had severe headaches, so the boy had already come with problems, probably because of his competitions in Greco-Roman wrestling. The fact is that after taking his medication that he requested on a regular basis, he fell into a coma. When he fell into a coma, he was transferred to the Chinston Hospital, which is the friendship hospital where foreign travelers are normally treated, diplomats, etc. And he remained on assisted ventilation and other treatments to see if he could recover. But at the same time, the United States was informed of this situation and that for humanitarian reasons, since he was in a very critical health situation, he would be returned to the United States of America, so Otto Warmbier was transferred alive on a hospitalized plane to the United States, where he was treated by American doctors. What happened in the end was that Otto Warmbier unfortunately passed away. On September 28, 2017, Dr. Lakshmi Kode, the forensic doctor in charge of examining Otto's body, said the cause of death was unknown, that they have never known the real cause of why he died, but it was that due to the lack of oxygen in the brain that led to Otto's death. In any case, she stressed that there are no fractures of any kind, that there is no evidence of torture, that there is no trauma, especially on the teeth, and that the problem could have been due to the medication he took. This result matches perfectly with the North Korean hypothesis, in which the doctors said it could have been caused by the medication he took. And in this case, together with some problems at the level of cerebral oxygenation that he would already have had due to his practice of Greco-Roman wrestling, which was his favorite sport. The point is that in addition to this doctor, there were 4 other doctors who were analyzing and looking at the possible causes of his death. And these 5 doctors in total said that the most remarkable thing was that Otto's skin was in perfect condition, in excellent condition, neither stains nor cuts nor hematomas of any kind. This is said by the Washington Post. The American press repeated this news. Anyone can check, look for, and see that these news from September 28, 2017 is confirmed in the US and by their own doctors that the cause of death is unknown. It is assumed due to a lack of oxygen in the brain, and in any case there is not a single sign or single bruise or fracture or problem in the teeth that indicate any type of torture. Also remarkable in this case, in addition to all the lying propaganda they have been spreading, including Otto Warmbier's own parents who go around denouncing Korea as a torturer, when in fact they returned their son for humanitarian reasons because of his situation, it is that Otto's parents refused to do a complete autopsy of Otto's dead body. The doctors said the only way to verify, if not 100% but 99%, that there wasn't any problem in relation to the torture of this boy was to realize the autopsy. But the parents absolutely refused. So if the parents really suspected that Korea had tortured him as they claim, why didn't they agree to the autopsy of their son, which could actually show if the boy had received some kind of suffering, harassment, beats, etc.? So they contradict themselves by calling for more sanctions and going to the US Senate and on TV, saying that North Korea is a torturer, etc., when in reality the US and the American doctors themselves say that there is not a single sign of torture. For this reason, I invite you to contrast these information. I will insert some pictures of Otto's trial in Pyongyang. As I said, with foreign press and with accredited foreign diplomats who came and heard Otto's words, in which he acknowledges his guilt and explains how the entire operation was carried out, and also the link to the Washington Post dated September 28, 2017, in the video description, where it is clearly stated that they don't know the exact cause of death, but that it is due to the absence of oxygen in the brain, and in any case there is not a single symptom of torture. So, this is the case Otto. The reason he was sentenced to 15 years is actually to avoid other tourists, other visitors, from doing the same. In normal situations, more than 1,000 tourists visit North Korea every day, and none of them experienced anything like this. I'm working for the Democratic People's Republic of Korea for 30 years and brought hundreds, I say hundreds of Americans to Korea to do all kinds of activities, and absolutely nothing has happened to none of them. But of course, you have to understand that in Korea, the national anthem or whatever you take is respected by law and by the people. And no one will allow the flag to be burned, insulted, or torn down, a poster that has even more value than the flag, as it had a slogan communicated by the former leader Kim Jong-il, and above all, in an internal state office. So that was the reality that happened, and as I said, investigate, see, and compare to understand why Korea made these decisions and what the final situation is. What is the reaction of Korea regarding a person in this case ill, and despite being sentenced, returned to the US? And on top of that, the US takes advantage of it to make propaganda and reinforce sanctions against the Republic. Thank you very much, and until the next video, revolutionary greetings, as always.